Hi, welcome back to Music Theory Basics for the Advancing Guitarist. Lesson number 2. Let's do a quick review of Lesson 1 before moving on. In Lesson 1, we learned the names of notes. We learned the octave. We talked about sharps and flats, half steps, chromatic movement, the fretboard as a chromatic grid, and memorizing the names of the notes on the fretboard. So I hope you did your assignments and got your homework done. Then this lesson should flow nicely for you if you have done so. Our objectives today, if you want to know what intervals are, you'll find out about that today. You will want to be able to describe them and hear them and identify them, and you want to be able to hear octaves, fourths, and fifths. So when I talk about hearing them, that means that you'll be able to hear them, identify them, and be able to use them in your playing. Okay, oh crap, we're back at the piano again. But it's going to be just a couple of minutes, just like last time when we looked at the keyboard diagram. We were looking at half steps and whole steps, and the sharps and flats, and the natural notes that appear there. This time we're going to be looking at notes in terms of intervals. Intervals is basically the sonic distance between the notes. Some notes are higher or lower, and the comparison of the pitches between the notes is what's called an interval. So if you were to play like a C on the piano and then move up to D, that interval is called a second. If you jump from C and jump to E, that is called a third. If you play a C and jump to the F, that's a fourth. If you jump from C to G, that's a fifth, and C to A, that's a sixth, and from C to B, that's a seventh. And so you can just count this kind of up on your fingers. So we count always the first note. So we go C, D, that's two, right? C, D, E, that would be three, a third. C, D, E, F, that's a fourth. C, D, E, F, G, it's a fifth, and then we would just keep going on through A and B. And when you get to B, you got 7 fingers sticking up. So that is how those intervals go. Now, as you might expect, things get a little more complicated. There are major and minor intervals. So C to C sharp, that's called a minor second. C to D is a major second. If you were figuring that basically the whole step movement is a major second, the half step is a minor second. So if we play chromatically, half step, half step, half step, we're moving up in minor seconds. C to E flat is a minor third, but C to E is a major third. C to F is called a perfect fourth, and C to G is a perfect fifth. Fifths and fourths are never minor. They're perfect. You think of old like Gregorian chants that they'd sing in these cathedrals. If they would sing intervals of fourths or fifths, they create a particular overtone that really resonates in like an open space like in a cathedral or a basilica. And they'd had this kind of holy sound to them, and so they call those perfect intervals, and they're never major or minor. They're always perfect. C to A flat would be a minor sixth. C to A is a major sixth. C to B flat is a minor seventh, and C to B is a major seventh. Now, I know you're chomping at the bit because you probably already know some chords that have some names like C major seventh or A minor seventh. And you're thinking like, oh, wow, that's something to do with the chords. You're right, but we're not there yet. We'll get to that in a future lesson. We need to go through triads and chords, then you'll see how this all fits together. So be patient, we'll get there. Don't rush on it. Now, we started from C, counting up to D and to F and to figure our intervals, but obviously you're not going to start on C every time. So depending on what key you're in and what chords you're playing, you may start on other notes. So let's say, for example, you start on D. D to F would be a minor third, and I've kind of diagrammed that out on the keyboard there. You see the little V where we go D up to F. Okay, that's the minor third. G to B is a major third. D to A is a perfect fifth. Now I could give you a real complicated explanation of how many half steps are in each one, but the easiest way is basically to learn to hear the sounds. We're going to keep this pretty basic and simple. The major intervals sound like major chords. The minor ones sound like minor chords. Fourths and fifths sound like power chords. And we'll give you some examples of that in just a minute. You're familiar with some of these sounds already because the guitar is tuned in intervals. So E to A, that is a fourth. A to D, A, B, C, D, that's 4. A to D is a fourth. D to G is a fourth. Now here we switch it up a little bit. G to B is a major third, and B to E is a perfect fifth. So those intervals, we're used to hearing those. There's a fifth, there's a major third, all the rest are fourths. So the guitar uses intervals. Now let's play a few of these and just listen to the intervals. We're not playing in any particular key, but you want to begin to familiarize your ear with the sound of the intervals. So our first example is a major third. So you see the chord diagram there. I'm going to put my fingers in place. Second finger, third fret of the fifth string. First finger on the second fret of the fourth string. That's a major third. If you play them together, that's what they sound like. The next one, we have a minor third. So I'm going to put my finger on the second fret of the third string, first fret of the second string. Perfect fourth. Second finger, for the diagram, is on the second string of the fourth string, second fret of the fourth string, and the third finger goes on the third string, second fret. A perfect fifth. First finger, there we go, first finger on the fifth string, second fret, and then I'm going to reach down here with my third finger and play the fourth fret on the fourth string. Now, if you can hum or sing those while you're doing that, that'll help you get the tone of it in your ears. Now, obviously, you can't sing 2 notes at a time, so you'd be humming the skip between the notes. Let's do a couple more. A major second. This example uses the first finger on the third string, second fret, and the open second string. We play them together. Okay, now a minor second. Let's play fourth string. Let's put your fourth finger on the fourth fret of the second string, and then we're going to play the open string underneath it. If we play them together, it's the stuff of horror movies, right? That's what they're used for. The next one is a major sixth. This one will be second finger on the fourth string, second fret, third finger on the second string, second fret. That's a major sixth. Let's play it together. And then a minor sixth. I'm going to kind of stay in position so you can hear the difference between the major sixth and minor sixth within the same key. So I'm going to let go with my third finger. I'm going to put my first finger down on the first fret of the second string. Compare the major sixth and the minor sixth. And if that sounds kind of familiar, it is. That's the those are the notes that make the difference between an A chord and an A minor chord. The last couple we have are going to be sevenths and octaves. So a major seventh, you can use the fingering you see on the screen there, and it's going to sound like this. That can be kind of dissonant. And a minor seventh. The last two examples are both octaves in different positions. Here's the first one. In that case, both of those are G's, a low G and one in the middle. And then C, we'll have a low C and a high C. That takes care of sevenths and octaves. So this exercise is going to use thirds. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to play these shapes in the boxes indicated, like you're playing little partial chords. So for example, we're going to start with the C that's on the first fret, second string, and then the 2 second finger goes on the second fret of the third string. We'll play those together like that. Now just move that shape up 2 frets, a whole step. Now we're going to switch to a different shape. On the 5th fret, there's the 2 and the 3. Then we're going to skip up a whole step, 2 frets. Then up 1 fret and shift to the very first position with the 1 and the 2 alternating like that. A whole step again. And then at the 12th fret, we end up side by side again. If we go back down, and if we want to, we can add the 2 open strings, the third and second string together. We can even start there. The 2 open strings on the second and third string, B and G string. That might remind you of some songs you've played before. This exercise is almost the same. We're going to use double stops as sixths. That's the last time we used thirds. And so notice that all we're going to do really is shift our second finger up to the 4th string, 2nd fret. First finger stays where it was on the last exercise. We'll play those 2 notes together. That's a sixth from E to C. Then we're going to shift up a whole step, shift up a half step, and go to the side-by-side shape with the 2 and the 3 on the 5th fret. Go up a whole step, go up a half step, and switch to the first shape. Switch to the second shape and move up a half step, and then up a whole step. Add in the open strings if we want on the 2nd and 4th string. It's a pretty handy little exercise that you can use there. If you have been playing for a while and you've learned to play power chords, we're going to do a G power chord, which, if you look at the diagram, is our first finger is going to go to the 3rd fret of the 6th string, then 3 and 4 are side by side on the 5th. And they're going to play just the top 3 strings. That has an octave from G to G in it, and in the middle there is a 5th. So that's the magic of the power chord. You can take this and move this around the neck. You may find songs that stuff that sounds familiar to you as you play along with that. That wraps it up for lesson 2. You have an assignment first to play and sing the intervals so that you get them in your ear. You can start to hear them. You want to be able to discern the difference between thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths, sevenths. You want to practice the double stop exercises so that you can begin to incorporate those into your playing and start to hear them as they go. The thirds on the one exercise and sixths on the other. And then finally, explore using the power chord shape. You may find some songs that are right underneath your fingertips, especially some good rockers. Especially if you're playing electric guitar, put some distortion on those and then let it wail. All right, thanks again for watching. Remember, do your homework. Get this stuff down before moving on to lesson number 3. Catch you next time. Bye.